a second.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 22nd agenda meeting, South Lafayette Mayor and Council. This meeting has been advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, with adequate notice of this meeting being provided to the borough's two official newspapers and published on the borough's website. Public comments are pursuant to Article 4, Section 2 of the bylaws. The presiding officer shall limit such discussion to not more than 3 minutes in duration. Just a note for today and going forward, public comments at council meetings are just going to be changed slightly. There will be a public comment at the beginning of the public meeting. There will not be one at the end of the section. So again, that public comment period can be used for anything on the agenda or anything that is on your mind. So a little bit of switch from the past. We didn't call the roll yet, right?
No.
Can you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Faustini?
You know what? Nobody's online.
She's not on yet?
No.
Okay. Councilwoman Mott?
Here.
Councilman Smith?
Here.
Councilman White?
Here.
Councilman Bullock?
Here.
Council President Benjavanga?
Here.
Thank you. Can you take us through a review of tonight's agenda, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This evening, we have 3 contractual matters on for executive session. We have the approval of council minutes for December 18th and January 1st. We have 1 ordinance on for a second reading by title, 2 ordinances on for a first reading by title. There are 22 resolutions this evening, 4 matters of correspondence, and we have the payment of bills, which totals $2,366,974.36. Council reports, and we conclude with the adjournment.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to add to the agenda the approval of the bills and claims as mentioned for $2,366,974.36?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilman Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We added to tonight's agenda. Council comments on agenda items?
None.
No. No, ma'am.
Thank you. We have 3 items on for executive session. All 3 contractual: Hamilton Industrial Site, Colliers Engineering, and the PBA. Can I get a motion for Resolution 24-58, executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Smith, seconded by Councilman Wolock. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, at this point, we'll open it up for public comments on agenda items only. Seeing none, close the public portion. At this point, can I get a motion to adjourn tonight's agenda meeting?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman Smith, seconded by Councilman White. Other way around? Other way around. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Seeing no reason to delay, we'll go right to the public meeting. Again, this meeting has been advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, with adequate notice of this meeting also being provided to the borough's 2 official newspapers and published on the borough's website. Public comments are pursuant to Article 4, Section 2 of the bylaws. The presiding officer shall limit such discussion to not more than 3 minutes in duration. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll once more?
Okay, we'll try Councilwoman Faustini one more time.
Still not online.
She's trying to log on, but she can't.
Okay. Councilwoman Mott?
Here.
Councilman Smith?
Here.
Councilman White?
Here.
Councilman Bullock?
Here.
Council President Benjavanga?
Here.
Thank you. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Council President Benjavanga. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please look over this governing body as we make decisions on behalf of our residents and businesses. Look over all of our emergency services and keep them safe, as well as all those that are being deployed over to the Middle East. With that, amen.
Amen.
We have her now, Amy.
Okay.
Welcome, Councilwoman. Okay, as mentioned, this is the public comment period. Again, there will be no public comment period at the end, so this public comment period is for anything, any agenda items for the public meeting, and also for any items on your mind. Okay. Again, the one and only public comment session for this meeting. This is a change. So if anybody has any public comments, anything on your mind, or anything regarding tonight's agenda, now is the time.
Mayor, I do need to separate one resolution, 24-63, please.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You could just state your name and address for the
Yes.
clerk, and you can proceed with your comment.
How are you, Mayor and Council? I come before you, I represent a business in town, CNC Cabinetry on Kentile Road. I'm the maintenance director at that facility, and we just come before you to see if it would be possible to put Kentile on the list to be paved. It is in real bad shape. It seems all the roads around us, Metuchen, Belmont, Newmarket, have all been paved, and they just come down the road with the dump truck, the shovels, and fill the potholes
Okay.
for the past 3 years. So we're just seeing if we can add Kentile Road to the list. We're in the process of doing a $3 million renovation to our complex to make it look presentable in
Right.
town. So we would like the road to look as presentable,
Okay.
if that's at all possible.
Yeah, so our engineer and DPW superintendent is here. Obviously, I don't think the council has not determined what roads will be on this year. That will
Sure.
be happening, but yeah, I think we're all pretty much sure.
Yeah, for
Understandable
the
if
past
we
3
can-
years, what happens is
yeah.
I call Public Works every January, and I
Do
say,
you?
is Kentile on the list to be paved?
Yeah.
No.
No?
So I do have pictures if you're interested.
Yeah, if you can, you can, I mean, I'm familiar with the condition,
Okay.
but you can, if you want to hand them over here for the record, we'll have them, and council can
My
take them.
card's on there. I have an email, phone number. You can reach out to me and let me know where we stand.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the expansion. Good luck.
For the record, you have to give the clerk your,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
your name.
Scott Kurtz.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, you, sir.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Yep, good evening.
My name is John Terrafranco. I live at 223 Manning Avenue. My house is very recognizable, and because of the sunken front lawn and the broken and sunken driveway along with the sunken sidewalks. The road in front of the house is also sunken and become a huge problem. You're probably asking yourselves why. Well, I'm going to tell you a story, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible. I am sure some of the board members here are familiar with this problem and heard of it from my backyard neighbor, Jim, who lives on the Pearl Street right behind the TD Park and Bank. He too is part of the story. I lived in this house for over 35 years. I bought it in 1986. The house was built in 1969. I pay taxes on time and follow all the rules of the town. During those years, I've watched my property continue to sink. Having asked my neighbors questions and trying to get the history of this property, I figured out that my property and my neighbor behind me and others around me used to be owned by Kentile Industries and a few prominent citizens of this town back before houses were built on these lots. Evidently, through the years, those people were allowed, or officials of this town just turned a blind eye to the practice of letting them use those properties as private landfills for all kinds of discarded tiles, some of those probably asbestos and who knows what else. My neighbor Jim ran into a huge problem when he dug a basement to the addition of putting his house on. He spent a lot of money on lawyers, testing, and trying to find out what the situation was. To make a long story short, he was given the proverbial runaround and got no satisfaction from any entity here. Now, I witnessed this type trash and tiles when I had dug the trench for my underground service I had put on my house. Not having the funds then and now to fight any of this, and seeing the results of my neighbor came out with, I just decided to live with the condition. But last year I called borough engineer Leonard Miller down to have a look at the road situation. We talked, and he dug up the history of my house and knows the same things that I told you. He said there is nothing I could do. Whether this is true or not, I do not know. Any of you board members want to take this on, just let me know, glad to listen. But Mr. Miller did have the sewer lines inspected to see if there was any breakage and water is causing the undermining. He found none at the time. Then just a couple weeks ago, my neighbor down the street, who was on the other end of Manning Avenue, called and with basically the same problems. And again, they did the camera test. And as they were there, I had told them about a situation with the sanitary sewer lines, how they overflow on heavy rains. And this is basically the same thing that happens in front of this municipal building. Now, I ask you all sitting there, how many of you would like to have raw sewage running down your street in front of your house and worrying about backflow into your basement, sinks and all? I'm betting none of you. On this time of inspections, they did find a crack in the sanitary sewer line at the corner of Lane and Manning Avenue. They proceeded to fix it. And as they did, they had to keep pumping 9 feet of water out of that hole to work on this. Now, this is where the story takes a turn and gets tied into what my neighbor was supposed to be talking about. Talking with Mr. Miller, he told me that it is fact that the water table in this town has risen since they had shut down the water treatment plant because of contamination of the water, and has caused concern. You see plenty of evidence of this around town, not just on my street, with people's sump pumps running, and much more. Mr. Miller did also go on to say that, yes, Manning Avenue is in need of repairs and moved up the list to be done this year, and I sure hope it is. With this situation brought up concerns, and I'm hoping I am not just in my mind, but yours as well. As the saying goes, for every action, there's a reaction, and for every cause, there's a cause and effect. Say they go and replace the curbing, raise the catch basins, and repave the road. What has stopped it from being right back to the same condition in a year or two? Nothing. Being done to fix the underlying problem is like putting lipstick on a pig, more expense for this town. So this brings me to my questions for you. Is there something being done about the sewage problem? And is also there something being done to resolve the problem that can become huge when and if people start becoming aware of it and start finding cracks in foundations and other findings within their homes and property? As is with my situation, sinking can become much more aggravated because of the higher water levels and movement. I have a terrible situation and have no recourse to take. If you are aware of these problems, and I'm sure hoping you are, there needs to be a constant communication in some form with the citizens of this town, and they be kept informed as to what is going to be done to rectify this. So now I'd like to hear your generic answers as to the reason, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, sure.
I'd just like to clarify up. So as to me saying that it's fact that the water table is high, I mean, it's not a fact. I didn't say it's a fact. What we have said is that the state had a task force and was looking into it. There has been complaints about the water table being raised. Specifically in Plainfield, they have found some correlation between it. But that's, I mean, I just relayed the information that I had to you. I'm not in any position to say that it's a fact. Actually, your neighbor, one of the neighbors who's been looking into this all over, he's contacted everyone at the state and the DEP, and no one has been able to say that it's a fact yet or not. that's number one. Number two, the Kentile dumping, you actually told me about. I didn't know anything about it at all. You
It's
had-
fact. That's fact.
That fact, the Kentile dumping, I didn't know anything about. It goes way before my time. I didn't know Kentile owned the property. You're the one who said when you dug up, you had found this. And I had spoken to you when I came out over the summer also, and we talked
Correct.
about the sinkholes. And at that point, you hadn't mentioned anything that when you dug a trench before that you found all those tiles. So it's just, I mean, I don't know that anyone before me at the town knew anything about the, the tile dumping either. Just so we're clear that there's no history that I know of that anyone was aware of the dumping of tiles there.
Well, I'll tell you that the neighbor behind me, my backyard neighbor, had gone through this, and he's gone through all the boards, through the engineering department, through everybody, trying to get answers as to why this was
Yeah,
allowed.
How long
This
ago?
this probably, I want to say, 7, 8 years ago.
I've been here 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. This is, I
Nah.
says there's probably board members here that probably have seen this situation and come across this.
I don't recall
First
anything
I've
like
heard
this.
of it.
I mean, there's no record that I've been working for the town since '08. I've never had any information about any dumping over there.
Because he hired a lot of lawyers. He tried to fight the situation. He tried to get answers as to
Who was he fighting?
people from the town.
But
I don't
this,
know.
this
I
has
don't-
this has to be well past 8 years or years ago. But so your house was built in '69.
9, yeah.
You moved in '86, but the house was built in
I
'60.
moved
So
in
this
86.
dumping was occurring pre-'69.
Correct.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm not a. I mean that's
Right.
that's longer than I've been alive. So I
Right,
mean,
right,
I don't,
and
yeah.
that's understood. But
Right.
what I'm saying is, this other situation is, he must have brought this up in front of somebody here. I don't know, if everybody was here on the board member at that time, or what, I don't know.
The mayor and I have been here since '06, and this is the
Yeah,
first I'm
see,
hearing it.
I don't,
No, this
I
is-
really don't know how far back he
Yeah.
goes and stuff like that, but I do know he did fight it because he had a problem putting it in the basement.
Yeah.
And in fact, he still has tiles built into the basement walls because they couldn't remove them. And there's that much,
But so who was he fighting? Because this was
well,
who did he build? He bought the land from.
Maybe he fought the builder if he was building.
Right, he bought the land from a builder, the house from a builder.
like I
Right.
said, I really don't want to put out information here that I really not sure of. I mean, he told me a story, and because like I said, I was looking at, trying to find out answers on my own property.
Sure,
And
I
he had
understand.
told me this story, that this is the way he has gone through, and what he has gone through and everything like that. And that's,
Okay, I mean, I
so
can.
more or less, 'cause I don't want to get into the hearsay stuff.
No, I mean,
you
look,
know.
I mean, I remember I grew up on Fairmount Avenue, and I remember as a kid having a sinkhole open up in our backyard because they dumped, whoever was prior to my family moving in there also dumps over there. Not tiles, but this is clearly somebody, but washing machines and all this other stuff, right? That doesn't excuse it. But I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. So when we had the sewer issues, we found that, right? You ended up TVing the lines. We found a different break. That's been addressed?
Yes, it's been fixed.
So now
Right, the
we've
one-
got sinkholes that are on your property,
Right.
but assuming Kentile dumped it there, right? We don't know.
Right.
You're saying,
I know
you're
that
saying
for
there were
fact.
other town
That I know for
officials
fact.
who allowed it? I don't know what your neighbor uncovered, but like I said, none of this sounds familiar to us.
See, that's where the problem probably will come in, is because, I would have thought that some of you people would have been on that board at that time, I don't know for sure,
Well, I mean,
but.
But,
Is your neighbor,
1969, the
Yeah.
regulations are not what the regulations are today. And people, at that time, the filling, of property wasn't regulated like it is. The dumping, not so much dumping, but burying of things was more or less common. I mean, until they had that huge sinkhole in New Brunswick at that complex back in, I think it was the early 80s, where they had a huge sinkhole, that they changed all the regulations in terms of what you're allowed to, dump in terms of construction debris and things like that. I mean, so this 1969 or so. I can't tell you what the regulations were. I certainly wasn't an engineer then.
But I guess the one question is when we do the road,
Right. There,
at that point in time, there's gonna be enough base put down that, they're gonna go down until.
Yeah, we're gonna excavate
Correct.
out to make sure. I mean, if we hit anything that's bad that needs to be removed, we're gonna remove it, and we'll put a stone subbase down.
By the sanitary sewer lines, right?
Well, on the whole
No,
road
when we
line,
find the-
wherever-
On the road, okay, gotcha.
right, because as I spoke to you, this is what we were talking about. Because you cameraed the sewer lines thinking that there was probably maybe, something with the water situation, and it's undermining the property and stuff like that.
Well, we're
You-
checking. I'm not
Right.
assuming that there's a problem. We're TVing it to see if there's a problem.
Right, and at that time, you didn't find any breakage or anything like that.
Right.
But the thing is that, is there something going on under that road that's going to be, you're gonna just pave over the top of it and
Oh, no.
we're gonna be right back to this
You'll-
again?
You'll do test pits and whatever you call it and everything else.
Well, we're gonna excavate down again and see, and we'll have to add some stone to the bottom of it, but when we do the test pits, we'll see what we find, and whatever needs to be removed, we'll remove it and, replace it with good fill.
Okay, and you'll keep me up to speed on that, correct? I mean, just in case I'm not there when you're doing this or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll give you notification when we're gonna start the project.
Right.
Sure.
But you plan on doing it this year, correct?
But that's.
I mean, that still has to be passed and approved, so, yeah.
It's
We'll
on the
go-
list.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to assess. We haven't, I mean, we're assessing all the roads we're gonna be doing this year. I mean, it's,
Well, I hope you assess this one, because this one is a problem. And as I spoke to you, the way this situation looks now is when you get the road done, I will come in and refill my property and everything like that, level it off and stuff like that. I'll do my end of it, because it doesn't seem like anything else I can do. And hope it just doesn't continue on.
gotcha. That's what I was, okay, that makes sense.
I mean, that's what I tried to explain to you when I was talking to you about that, so,
Yep.
so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone, gentleman in the back?
Good evening, everyone.
How are you?
Good evening.
I gotta state my name,
Yeah, just state your name and
Mark
address.
Bonaventura. Unfortunately, you guys are gonna get the 1-2 punch now. This wonderful gentleman was talking about a little bit of infrastructure, water table. I'm voicing my opinion again in front of this council for the second time, okay? I came in at the end of last year. There is an evident problem of water rising. The state is aware. I have information from the state, the townships have been aware, utility companies have been aware, okay? Pumps cannot be going off in the middle of the winter. I don't care what anyone says, it doesn't come from rain, okay? In some places, elevations went up from 16 to 17 feet. If you need any information as far as graphs, charts, geoscience from the state, let me know, because I have it, okay? There is issues here that need to be addressed. I understand the aspect that the town cannot snap their fingers and make something happen. What I'm asking you all to do is put some more pressure either on the state of New Jersey or specifically the DEP. Those are the ones who are controlling this. This town owns several well points that are not in use because I have every single one of them in this town. There's no reason why you guys can't put a little monitoring device to see how the water fluctuates. This all started from Park Avenue. There's something called superficial aquifers that are entailed to this. I spent thousands, some of you gentlemen sitting up here already know this because we've had conversations in the past, thousands and thousands of dollars of my own money between hydrologists, structural engineers, GPR scans, okay? It can't come from an individual alone. I'm not the only person who's dealing with this, okay? If you look around, walk down the street, how are all these pumps going off all of a sudden? I've been here since 2012. Never seen this. Okay? So that's one thing. If maybe someone can get together, have a conversation, think about one of these things. Maybe some more pressure toward the state and again to the DEP. That's it.
Yep,
Thank
no,
you.
that's fair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mayor, just to fill everybody in, Mr. Bonaventura had come to my office, and that's what got us the camera lines.
Mhm.
So we had Parsa come here, they TV'd both lines, and that's when we found, I had them do both storm sewer and sanitary sewer, and that's when they found the break over there on Lane Avenue in the sanitary line. I did email Middlesex Water, which I know Mr. Delventura has had a lot of conversation with. They did get back to me. They said their meters showed that we had over 7 inches of rain in December. They claimed in the email to me that all of their pumps are fully operational. Obviously, I've seen video from Mr. Delventura of his sump pump, I think pumping for, was it 7 or 9 consecutive minutes? And it's not a dribble, it's a pretty steady flow. I'd mentioned to him that I'm looking to have both Len and our code official, Mr. D'Amico, visit his house and just see what's going on there operationally, but I think we spoke twice last week, and as everyone knows, we had a couple of snow events last week, so unfortunately, we've pushed it off, but hopefully within the next week or so, we'll have everybody out there.
Oh, we have 3 more days of rain coming, right? So,
I mean, that hasn't made things easy. I mean,
No.
that's for sure.
I just question just what he had just said.
Sure.
This thing, going back to the sewer line situation, and everything like that, do you think possibly that was the cause of what's overflowing my street with the sanitary lines and stuff like that? Will this be corrected, or are we looking at something that can't be corrected because of all the rainfall, whatever? Why is it just this area?
Well, it's not just that area, like you said. I mean, it overflows in other areas throughout the town. I mean, it was overflowing in front of Town Hall, and we have other manholes. So it's really, it's not a localized issue just to your street. What happens is these sewers, when we get heavy rains, are backing up. The whole system, essentially, if you get too much rain, starts to back up. So essentially, there's just no place for it to drain to till the rain goes down.
And there's no work around this?
Well, wait a minute, real quick. So when you're seeing the backup, the local lines are backing up because,
Because the main trunk lines.
the main trunk lines, which aren't the boroughs.
Which aren't the boroughs, that flow out
They're
of
full
town
also.
and take the wastewater to the treatment plant are backed up also. The entire system, not just the borough system, but the regional system that takes all the sewage to Middlesex County Treatment Plant is backed up. So our flow can't get into their pipes are backed up. So it's a huge regional issue once we get that much rain.
So there's no correction of
Where
this?
would, the break though that was on Lee, where would he flow? Does he flow
He
towards the?
flows into where the break was,
Yeah,
but
so-
where the
Yeah.
break is right where the pipe gets into the Parsa interceptor line, right there. So if that line is full, it's a hard, it's hard for this to drain into it.
and this is what, all just rainwater infiltration into the sewer system that shouldn't be occurring?
Well, there's a lot of it too that are probably illegally hooked up sump pumps that pump a lot of water into the sanitary sewer system. That's been a constant issue that Parsa's been mentioning to us.
And then it all goes down to the trunk line and the interceptor underneath the railroad that dips down and then back up, and that siphon there is a big issue.
Where's that?
That's,
We are
South
Sampton Avenue and South Clinton Avenue.
South Clinton Avenue Extension, there's a siphon that goes under and then back up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It goes under.
That's it's not our pipe, but it's the Parsa pipe. And that's a big issue for that side of town.
That side of town too.
Well, it affects everywhere, but specifically like that south side off New Market and stuff. Yeah.
So, obviously, more work to be done. We're not solving this tonight.
I'm hearing you, just as long as it's on record and
Yep.
something, everybody's aware of.
I appreciate it. All right. Anyone else? There's no one online other than Councilwoman Faustini. Anyone else in here for public comments? Again, this is your only opportunity for public comments. There will be no public comments at the end. Going once, twice, close the public portion. All right, can I get an approval for the council minutes of December 18th, agenda and public, and the January 1st reorganization?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilwoman Mott. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman
She's on mute.
Yes,
Okay, got it.
got that?
Yeah, got it.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. For final adoption, ordinance 2291.
An ordinance amending ordinance 2252 that provides for the compensation of employees of the Borough of South Plainfield and method of payment of such compensation for part-time seasonal help for the community pool, summer parks, and Legends Camp.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for final adoption for ordinance 2291?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Council President Benjavanga. As this is for final adoption, open it up for public comments on ordinance 2291. Seeing none, close the public portion. Council comments?
None.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
I want to thank Mr. Cullen for explaining all the finances of the camps and the pools prior to this ordinance being finalized. So I want to thank him for that.
Perfect. Anyone else?
Nothing, Mayor.
Thanks,
All right.
Councilman.
Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Yes, Councilwoman Faustini?
Yes,
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. For introduction, ordinance 2292.
An ordinance deleting and replacing Chapter 350 of the Code of the Borough regarding rental of the senior center.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for introduction on ordinance 2292?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Council President Benjavanga, seconded by Councilwoman Mott. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilwoman Faustini?
Oh,
yes,
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
thank you. Also for introduction, ordinance 2293.
Bond ordinance amending and restating in its entirety bond ordinance number 2206 of the Borough of South Plainfield in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, finally adopted July 12, 2021.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for introduction on ordinance 2293?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Council President Benjavanga, seconded by Councilman White. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilwoman Faustini?
yes,
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Ordinances 2292 and 2293 will be open for public adoption on February 5th. The public hearing will occur February 5th, approximately 7 p.m. Can I get a motion for resolutions 24-59 through 62, 24-64 through 24-80?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Wolak, seconded by Council President Benjavanga. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilwoman Faustini?
yes,
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for resolution 24-63?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Council President Benjavanga. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll on 24-63?
Councilwoman Faustini?
recuse,
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for the correspondence?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Council President Benjavanga, seconded by Councilman White. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilwoman Faustini?
yes,
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for payment of the bills of $2,366,974.36?
So move. Second.
Motion by Councilman Wolak, seconded by Councilman White. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilwoman Faustini?
yes,
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Benjavanga?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Amy, anything else for us tonight?
On progress, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
No, Mr. Mayor, progress.
Thank you. Glenn?
You know, Mr. Mayor, I'll just expound on the comments that were made by Councilman Smith. And really, what happened is the Legends Camp in 2023, really helped benefit the community pool. That was something which we really didn't anticipate. I think everybody remembers there was we had 2 or 3 smoke days. It really wasn't the best summer for swimming. On the flip side, we had a surge in things like swimming lessons due to the volume increase from the camp into the pool. So it was really kind of a positive unintended consequence. And so it turned out, allowing the pool, despite not having a good weather season, to still have a better season than the previous year. And the popularity of the Legends Camp, we believe is going to enable us to have some spin-off funds to make some pretty significant capital improvements over at the PAL. I just wanted to mention also in Ordinance 2293, it's kind of a reshuffling of funds. The ordinance itself in total did not increase. And I guess it was a good time and a bad time for everything, and maybe timing wasn't good tonight. I was going to tell everybody that the sewer bills are going out next week, so so maybe that wasn't the time to bring it up. But I certainly don't want to hide. But that the time to go out. I think they were sent. They're probably going out late this week.
No, never. It's supposed to go down. But,
believe me, my parents have said that they've been here since '55, so they're the same story. So, with that progress.
Thank you, Glenn. Chief, anything for us tonight?
Just one thing, Mayor. The police department and fire department have always had a great working relationship since I've been here, and I just wanted to thank Chief Scalera for his 12 years of service and congratulate new Chief Jay Campbell.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mr. Rizzo.
Nothing, Mayor. Progress.
Thank you. We'll go to the virtual world first. Councilwoman Faustini.
Thank you, Mayor. I hope everyone can hear me. A couple of things to announce. The Buddy Bowl program is starting on February 5th, Mondays, 5:30 to 6:30 at the PAL. There are still volunteers needed to assist and be a buddy, ages 14 and plus. So if you're interested or know someone who is, please ask them to sign up. Also, the STEM program is starting next week, and there's still a few openings for that. That's grades 1 through 5. Our high energy exercise program still has openings. That's ongoing. Wrestling, cheer, and basketball are all up and running. Ponytail softball signups have begun, and pool registration should begin sometime in February. And with that, progress.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilwoman Mott.
Progress, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Smith.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to also thank Mr. Miller and the road department for handling our small little winter storm that we had this year, and to the chief and his department for all the work that they've done, as well as the fire department this past week that we had the issues in Numberall.
Yep.
And with that, progress.
Thank you. I'm sure Mr. Miller would say no winter storm is small. Right? Varying degrees of difficulty. Councilman Wallach.
Progress, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman White.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just two quick announcements. The Japanese restaurant that I mentioned probably about a month ago, Adoyi. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but
Pretty sure
you
I agree.
stop by and see them, and hopefully they'll tell you the correct pronunciation and maybe even what the name means. And then also QIQ is a new learning center that's going to be going in on Park Avenue. And look forward to some announcements in the near future as the Shop One group that owns Oak Park Commons has been doing a heck of a job to get that place filled, and they're almost to the point where it's filled to capacity. So they've done a great job, Jack and his team. From the time that they purchased it from the previous owners to now, they've put a lot of effort into making sure that there weren't vacancies there. So, and with that, progress, Mayor.
Excellent. Council President Benjavanga.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to echo the Chief's comments about Chief Scalera. It's been an honor to, I first became fire commissioner when he became chief, and working alongside him the past 12 years. Obviously, we've seen highs, we've seen lows, we've seen storms. Unfortunately, some tragic fires, but he's overall has done a fantastic job keeping our department moving forward and leading the charge and keeping our residents safe. So, 12 years of having Tom Scalera as chief has been an honor to work with him, and I look forward to working with Chief Campbell moving forward on his new adventure as chief. And and seeing the next generation take over the department. So with that progress.
Yeah, we've been lucky to have two long tenured chiefs. Not that we're just as lucky to have two very capable and bright new ones, so don't take it the wrong way, Chief.
Clean it up.
Yes, I've
Somebody
cleaned it up.
mentioned,
No, but did I?
lipstick on a pig or
Did I
something
step in that
earlier?
one?
What
I'm
was that
just
all about?
saying. I'm just saying. So yes, no, it's great. We had the opportunity to go to to their dinner on Saturday night, and I know he's excited, just as you are, Chief, and you're both off to great starts. So congratulations to both of you. With that, we are going into executive session. Where are we doing that?
Stay here.
All right. We're going to executive session. We'll be back as soon as possible. Councilman will